Hello everyone, welcome back to another Battlefront 2 mods video. Today I'm going to be talking about a new mod that makes a lot of changes and additions to instant action. The mod is called Instant Action Advancements and it's made by B-Tech Math and Zenger, and I have no clue if I'm pronouncing those correctly, but I'm also going to leave a link to the mod down below if you want to try it out for yourselves. And one thing to keep in mind, it's entirely offline to avoid any potential ban risks, so with that being said, let's dive right in. Now, I'm going to start off with some smaller changes because there's a lot here. First off, the time to kill has been reduced, making all units deal a lot more damage, which I really like. It kind of gets rid of that bullet sponge feel where it takes so much time to kill even just regular units, and it makes the gameplay feel more fast-paced and fresh, and it makes a lot more of the weapons actually viable instead of everyone using the same blasters for each class. And speaking of blasters, this mod makes a huge change, which I know a lot of people have been asking for since day one of this game. And it unlocks all the blasters to be used by any faction with any class. So if you want to use clone blasters, like you're playing as the rebels, or if you want to use a heavy rifle as an officer, well, you can do that now. And it just adds a lot to that sandbox feeling that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is so good at replicating. Now, moving on to some hero changes. The health of every hero and villain has been increased to balance out the changes that have been made to the damage and time to kill. And after playing for a while, I haven't really even noticed a difference, and I think that's a good thing, because heroes are still strong and deadly, but they can be overwhelmed if not careful. So it just feels balanced like it was before. Now, another change that adds to that sandbox feeling that I was talking about earlier is that every hero is now playable in any era. And I'm honestly really surprised this wasn't in the game to begin with, or at least as an option to have it on, especially in an offline mode like Instant Action, because now you can play on your favorite maps using your favorite heroes with no boundaries in that regard, and it's a great feeling that's actually reminiscent to Galactic Assault, which is really the only game mode that allowed for cross-era heroes. Moving on to some of the bigger stuff that this mod adds, we actually get a brand new hero in this, and it's Din Djarin, or the Mandalorian. And I know this is a character fans wanted in the game since the show's release, and we can finally play as him now. And it's not just a reskin of a pre-existing hero. I've done a mod video like that where it's just Han or Lando with a Mando skin, but he's actually a brand new hero, and you can play as him along with all the original heroes in the game. He has a new blaster, emotes, and a fantastic looking character model.
I told you that was a bad idea. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold. I like those odds.
His first ability is called the Splitter Bomb, and it's pretty much just an improved version of the Officer's Stun Grenade. It's nothing crazy to say about it, but it works. It feels natural that Mando would have a strong grenade in his arsenal, because I mean, he probably does, and it fits in with all the other blaster heroes that are in the game. However, it's his next two abilities that make him really stand out for me. And the first is the Flamethrower, which is an iconic weapon and has some of the coolest scenes in the show. It pretty much works the same as the Flamethrower that's used by the First Order Flame Trooper, but the animation has the flame coming out from his wrist, just like on the show. And having that ability on a cooldown means that it's a lot faster. It feels less clunky when Mando uses it compared to the Flame Trooper, which makes it a lot more deadly and a lot more fun to use. His third and final ability is called Charged Shot, where Din will take out his disintegration rifle and be able to pull off one deadly shot before going on to a cooldown. And this is another ability that's really just a must for any Mando fan. The scenes where he uses it in the show are even more iconic than a flamethrower for me, and being able to recreate that first time we saw Mando disintegrate some Jawas really makes you feel like you're playing as a Mandalorian, and it's one of my favorite abilities. It does a lot of damage, and for me, it's the best feeling sniper rifle in the game. It's a lot better than Iden's Pulse Rifle, which I never really used. It feels a lot like Han's Charged Shot, which was an ability that he had in Battlefront 2015. Moving on, this mod also adds a new reinforcement, and it's the Imperial Purge Trooper. We saw these guys introduced in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order as a sort of mini-boss to fight against Cal Kestis. The Imperial Purge Troopers accompany both Inquisitors and even Darth Vader in the comic books to help hunt down rogue Jedi who had survived Order 66. And honestly, they really feel like a beefed up Death Trooper, kind of. Their first two abilities are the Stun Grenade, which is just a stronger version of the Specialist class Stun Grenade, and then Electric Stun, which is essentially just Iden's Droid Stun. And while they're not the most unique abilities, they definitely work and come together to make a more interesting reinforcement than any we've had before. Since Purge Troopers are Jedi hunters, it makes sense that they would have a lot of immobilizing abilities to try and slow down Jedi that they're hunting. And the final ability is a charge shot, which works fine, but it's a bit slow and it's not as strong as Iden's charge shot for obvious reasons. But it does have a good effective range, which does give the Purge Trooper a little more of an edge at a distance, considering most of his abilities are more up close combat. And his main blaster is a modified DC-15, which doesn't have the best range, but again, it's pretty deadly up close. So the final ability is nothing really crazy, nothing unique, but it does give him a little bit more range, which is helpful. And lastly, for major additions to this mod, we now have the T-21B, which is another blaster from Battlefront 2015, and apparently it was just sitting in the game files unused and they decided to put it in. And it's pretty similar to how it was in the 2015 version. Slower than the standard T-21, but a lot more powerful with a lot more range, and it fits perfectly into the game. And it would have made an awesome blaster for the Specialist class, and why it wasn't added to the game, we may never know. Like a lot of things with this game, but we do have it now, and it works great. And there's just a few more smaller changes in this mod, like Boss getting the Battlefront 2015 version of his Railway Blaster, which if you were a fan of that game, or Bosk in general, you'll be very happy to hear. For me at least, Bosk was one of my favorite villains in that game, and it was because of that blaster and how fast it was. Definitely had a lot of good kill streaks with that. And the Resistance Jump Trooper also has seen a little change. They now have the same jetpack that the First Order Jump Trooper has, and I like that change because the First Order Jump Trooper is a really fun unit, so now we can just use that jetpack on both sides and just bring a little more variety to the sequel era units. So with that, we've covered pretty much everything this mod brings to Battlefront 2. If you've been wanting some new content and a fresh experience, and you're on PC, I would definitely give this mod a try. Again, the link is in the description down below, so thank you for watching, and if you like this video, try checking out some of my other Battlefront 2 mods videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.